In fact, a couple years ago, before the idea to write it was ever born, a friend asked me how I would describe my life over the last decade or so in one word. I hardly even had to think about it before I saw the word come to mind in bold letters. Hard. Don't get me wrong, there have been plenty of incredible mountaintop experiences that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, but so much of the last dozen years resembles a pattern of long, dark seasons, strung together by occasional bright ones here or there. So one of the reasons for writing was for my own health. I needed to get out of my head and heart and get down on paper what I had been through, what I had learned, and where I wanted to go. For me. From there, I started to realize that the more I told my story, the story you're about to hear, the more stories I received from people like you who resonate with it. By simply sharing my pain and being as open and vulnerable as possible, I made a connection with other women, mainly, who, like me, desperately wanted out from underneath the suffocating pressure of performance and expectation. Just like the title says, they, like me, were over it. Over the guilt, over the shame, over the second guessing, over the self-hatred, over the pervasive need to be perfect. Just over it. In some ways, this is more a narrative than it is a teaching book. I'm not a therapist, pastor, or counselor. In fact, my hope is that as you read my story, it will be more like sitting under a blanket, across from each other on the couch, talking over a cup of coffee. Just sharing our stories, our hopes, and our dreams like best friends. Right up front, there's something I need you to know. I was raised in a very loving, tight-knit family. My parents were and are incredible people who have loved me truly unconditionally every step of the way, and they've given me space and freedom to step into my true self. They're still my husband and I's best friends on the planet. They are phenomenal grandparents to our two boys, Emmett and Beckett, and our daughter, Collins. But juxtaposed with that, however, was the conservative cultural bubble that I was raised in. Evangelical, embedded with a lot of silent expectations. Like, I was born into this invisible river of expectations. If you were raised in a Christian environment, you will probably relate to some or a lot of my story. Yes, I did learn about a Jesus who is real and loving, and whose love for me is unconditional. And at the same time, another subtle but very different message was at play. If you do the right things, say the right things, and act the right way, you will prove yourself to be a good Christian, and God will not withhold from you his blessings. Was that message preached from the pulpit? No. Did my parents raise me to believe that? Absolutely not. But the conservative American Christian culture that shaped me most certainly modeled that message. And it had a deep, lingering, and damaging effect on me, as you will see. But I want to make something crystal clear. This is not an axe-grinding Why the Church is Terrible book. Not even a little bit. I have a deep love for the church to this day, but this is the story of a girl who came to believe, wrongly, that her worth was measured more by who she was, not whose she was. And I was shaped by an unspoken set of rules and standards of conduct and behavior. So yes, conservative Christian culture had its flaws and laid some of the groundwork for the expectations I tried to live up to initially. But you want to know what it's grown into? You want to know what else has spoken into the silent expectations us girls are hit with every day in real time? The current culture we're living in now. The curated, photoshopped, idealistic culture that screams at us and hits us from every angle everywhere we turn. The messages are loud and clear. Today's culture tells us exactly what we're supposed to be, what our bodies should look like, where our beauty and our worth lie, our level of success based on what we can offer the world, how we should interact with others, and what our relationships with them should look like. It tells us what to eat, what to wear, how to carry ourselves, how to raise our children, what makeup to use, how often we work out, and what our goals should be. The world is very clear about these expectations. Do everything and look good doing it. Be a perfect career woman, wife, mom, daughter, friend, sister, and so on. Balance it all with grace and ease. Be attractive, but not too sexy. Be confident, but not too loud. Pursue your goals, but also raise perfect kids. Work out and eat right, but be comfortable in your own skin. Don't let anyone take advantage of you, but be accommodating and polite no matter what.